Okay, so guys, this has been wrought. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going to take the NFL's teams and we are going to rank them based on how well their mascots would fare in a fight against the others, right? Okay. So let's rename these teams. Complete Murdalization. Well, that complete okay, domination. Will that fucking fit? God damn it. Okay, just domination. Domination. God damn. Okay, here. Kick ass. There. God. Kick ass. No. All right, and second one would be like what? Pretty strong. Kind of mid. This is gonna get problematic with American football fans. I am an American football fan. I don't care. Pretty weak. And gets friggin' stomped. And we'll delete the rest. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. We are going to look at all of the NFL mascots, and we are going to determine which ones would win in a fight. Like, I comparatively between the rest of the NFL. All right, so first we have the New Orleans Saints. So they're Saints. So they're not very, they're probably pacifists, right? Because they are holy men, men of the cloth, men who do not partake in such violent acts, right? So I think they'd be pretty weak. But plus, I mean, even if they decided to, even if they decided to get a little violent, they're usually a bunch of older guys, right? You think Pokemon has an NFL? Probably in the Unova region. I believe it. Look at you. Look at Sid King here trying to keep things on topic. What if they have the power of God on their side? It depends on how much power God has in this land. Like, how much would God be willing to help in a fight against the rest of the NFL? There's sports stadiums in Nimbasa City. Ooh, we'll get there. I still think they're pretty weak because most Saints are like older men, right? And not a lot of them are like super in shape. Dolphins, I think they'd be kind of mid. Like, depending on the terrain that we're in, like, let's just assume that it's some kind of neutral terrain where everybody involved in a fight could flourish, right? Because it could just be like, oh yeah, dolphins, they can't go on the land, so they get freaking stomped because they're just gonna plop on the land. No, I think dolphins are gonna be kind of mid, or maybe would they be pretty strong? Because dolphins are pretty strong, right? They've got a lot of muscle, they got a lot of intelligence. Dolphins are incredibly smart. Like, I guess where do we put intelligence in this, right? Because we have here the Baltimore Ravens are also very intelligent. They don't have the size or the muscle of the Dolphins, but Ravens and other corvids are incredibly intelligent. They're cooked if it's a regular sports ball field. Again, neutral site where everybody can flourish. Bronze over brains? True. You know what? I think I'm going to put Dolphins in pretty strong and Ravens in kind of mid, because the Ravens do have, again, incredibly intelligent. They can fly. That's great, but they're pretty small. Ravens are not that big. Dolphins, large, strong, intelligence rivaling that of humans. The Cincinnati Bengals, okay, their logo is a bee, but they're fucking tigers. Tigers will maul the shit out of you, right? The tigers will probably be pretty high up there, right? Like, even like a strong human will struggle against a pack of tigers. Like, the idea is that Saints eat shit compared to birds and dolphins. Okay, should we put the Saints a little bit higher because they are people? And okay, maybe this. Have you ever tried to punch a bird? Exactly. You know what? Maybe that would put the Ravens a little bit higher, right? They're very agile, difficult to hit, and they can peck you. They can overwhelm you. You know what? Yeah, Ravens a little bit higher. Saints, they're gonna stay down here though. The Denver Broncos, AFC Championship contenders. They're horses, right? Bucking Broncos. I feel like they're kind of pretty strong, right? Broncos can, like, a horse can kick the shit out of you, like, really hard, especially like in the idea of like, what is specifically a bronco? Like, it's not like a male horse. They'll trample you. Oh yeah, that too. Like, if you get a bunch of them, they'll absolutely trample the shit out of you. Let's go to Wikipedia. Bronco. A bucking horse is any breed of horse, male or female, with a propensity to buck. Okay, so they are just specifically really violent horses. Horses are pretty terrifying. That's true. All right, you know what? Yeah, Broncos. I still think a Bronco would get their ass whooped by a Bengal. I don't know if tigers and horses share many natural habitats in the world. Oh man, I could go with pretty. I think I'm gonna go with pretty strong. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. The New York Giants. I believe Giants specifically are referring to the skyscrapers of New York City. Is that Red Bull? Where? This? Giants clear? Okay. Okay, hold on. We need to get back to Wikipedia real quick. Okay, New York Giants. Let's see. Name. They distinguished himself from the professional baseball team with the same name, the New York Football Giants. Football continues to use legally as his corporate name. He has many nicknames. Or is under the Giants name. Okay, naming characters. Naming. I'm pretty sure that the get their name. History of the New York Giants. Here we go. History. Yeah, they're one of the older teams as well, but that doesn't really matter, does it? Named the New York Football Giants to distinguish themselves from the baseball team. They become one of the first teams, blah, blah, blah. Buildings, skyscrapers. Okay. All right. You know what? Fuck it. That's thinking about like how they're named is getting okay. This is getting too nerdy. Giants are big man. You're probably right. Yeah. Either whether they're a building or whether they're like giants in the fantastical sense, they're gonna be difficult to take out. Right. You're gonna need like equipment at the very least. And if they're giant people, then. Yeah, they stomp. They stomp quite literally. Minnesota Vikings. I feel like Vikings would be up here as well, right? Because Vikings, like, they live and breathe warfare. Extremely strong motherfuckers, right? So I feel like the Minnesota Vikings are going to be up there. Like, they got weaponry. They got warfare in their blood. Absolutely devastating right here. The Los Angeles Rams, I think, are on the kind of the same level as like strong animals, right? Like Dolphins, Ravens, Broncos, Rams. Like, I feel like there's only so high you can get unless you're like a Bengal where you're like an apex predator. Rams can fuck you up. I think they're a little bit more docile than a lot of these other ones. So like Rams would only like really get you if they're like angry. They have their horns to deal with. So I feel like, yeah, it's not bad. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I feel like are on similar levels to Vikings. Like Buccaneers, Pirates, they're a little bit less organized than Vikings. Vikings are like a like organized culture of people, but Pirates like also just like they don't give a fuck. They'll pillage and destroy anything, right? Like, even if they're not as organized as a family of Vikings, the fucking, yeah. And they got gunpowder too. Like, their guns are not great, but I mean, they got cannons and shit, you know? Should they go above? A bunch of pirates versus a bunch of tigers. Okay, here's my thought. Vikings could probably take out a bunch of tigers. I don't know about a bunch of pirates taking out tigers. Even though they have that advantage, they like, Vikings have that organization, right? Pirates are a lot more like spread out. And they're I'd imagine they're a lot less eager to work together, right? Okay, so now we got two more apex predators. We got the lions and the bears. They gotta, you know, if we're putting Bengals up here, lions and bears gotta be kick-ass. Pirates could take a tiger, you think? You think? All right, fine. I'll put him a little higher. That human intuition, I guess. One tiger. Okay, what about 11 pirates versus 11 tigers? New York Giants might struggle with the pirate cannons. You're right. Did Vikings really not have cannons? I guess not. I mean, Vikings were like in the early 1000s, right? Like 1100s. Pirates lose 11 pirates versus 11 tigers. Yeah, I think I think you're right. I really think that the Vikings, like, organizational warfare skills, they predate cannons. That feels weird to me. It feels like Vikings, like, blasting cannons. That just feels right. I also feel like, oh yeah, you know what? The Buccaneers are falling. The ragtaggedness of Buccaneers. They just do not, like, the Vikings are just so intelligent. They work together. They work together, dude. So, like, Bengals, we got lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my. So yeah, I think that all of the apex predators are kind of be around here. The Vikings are going to be above them. The Giants, because they're giants, whether they're buildings or whether they're people, are going to be difficult to take out. I think they are at the tip top right here. But the Buccaneers are kind of falling. All right, the San Francisco 49ers. These are like what the hell is a 49er? I believe it is referring to, like, people taking advantage of the gold rush in in 1849 specifically. Be back in a minute. Gotcha. I think they're kind of mid, the 49ers. Like, at the end of the day, there are a lot of people. I think they're not 69ers. I think they're kind of mid. They're probably more violent than Saints are, but probably not. Probably just, again, a bunch of normal fucks, right? Like, they have the survival skills to, like, go across the Oregon Trail and shit. Could be taught me it's an old man. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the 49ers in mid. I'm gonna go a little bit faster because I do want to get to Pokemon. The Eagles, I think, go with the Ravens, but higher. Because Eagles are bigger than Ravens. I don't know how smart they are compared to Ravens, but Eagles are fucking huge. So they can be very scary. Raiders are kind of the same thing as the Buccaneers. They're both pirates. So we're going to kind of leave them the same. Green Bay Packers? Like, what the fuck what are the Packers named after? I think they're just factory workers. On history of the Green Bay Packers. Named Lambeau Field. Renamed. Field was named. Stadium was renamed. Packers renamed. Where did the name come from? Factory workers are probably more efficient than Saints. Yeah, probably. Their name. Who changed their name to the for fuck's sake. Okay, you know what? Let's just Google. Hold on. How did the Packers get their name? Okay, yeah. To the recent story of... Okay, so let's see. Yeah, okay, so it looks like they're named after a packing company. The Packers were sponsored by the Indian Packing Company for their first 2 seasons, although Larry Names wrote in 1987, the Lambeau years, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, so they're named after a packing company. So they have, like, factory workers, basically. So yeah, maybe more than saints, but also kind of just normal people. The 49ers at least have the survival instincts to travel across the nation when there really wasn't an easy way to do so. The Washington Commanders, probably pretty strong, maybe higher than the Birds, maybe up here, because they're commanders of, like, I assume the military. The Commanders are a very new name. Their old name was the Redskins. They changed the name for obvious reasons. I mean, it took 100 years for it to be obvious, but still. The Arizona Cardinals, I mean, Cardinals are really small, dude. Like, Cardinals are not that big. Honestly, I think they'd be pretty weak. Or even, should Cardinals get friggin' stomped? Cardinals are not big birds. I don't even think they're particularly dangerous birds. They're ones you see in a tree and you go, like, and you grab your binoculars, like, in complete safety. They probably get stomped. All right, Cardinals get our first stomp. Steelers also, like the Packers, are like from the steel industry, so again, factory workers, probably a little bit higher than Packers, but also higher than Saints. The Buffalo Bills, okay, so they're named after, like, the outlaw Buffalo Bill, but their mascot is a buffalo. So buffalo are like livestock, like, they're dangerous, but also, like, I think they're probably more dangerous than birds and dolphins. Like, buffaloes are big. Buffaloes are big and scary, and they can stampede as well. So I think we could put buffaloes up there. Plus, I mean, the name Buffalo Bill, you know, he's an old outlaw. Falcons, probably higher than ravens at least, but maybe not as high as eagles. That's not really livestock. Oh yeah, they're more endangered, right? Yeah, they're wild. You're right. Okay, Seahawks, the originator of this entire debate. It would be his persona. Okay, Seahawks. I don't know how dangerous osprey are, but they, again, very large. So they'd probably be around here. Man, the pretty strong tier is getting pretty high. Patriots is a very broad thing, but I believe this is specifically referring to, like, American revolutionaries. So kind of mid. Because, yeah, they have, like Buccaneers and Raiders and Vikings, they have the warfare on their side, but, again, they don't have the recklessness. Well, they're kind of big. Okay, think about it. Like, didn't they fight a war? Yes, but think about it. They don't have the recklessness of a Buccaneer / Raider / pirate. They don't have the like, bloodthirst of, like, early warfare of, like, the Vikings. This was when warfare was starting to get a little bit more, like, organized, right? Where wars were a little, like, it's weird to say that a war is more diplomatic than one or the other. This is a weird thing to say. They do have guerrilla tactics. Yeah, I mean, trying to think of, like, American revolutionaries. Okay, look, we'll put them above the Dolphins. Because I do think they will struggle against, like, buffaloes or, like, more modern commanders or pirates or apex predators, etc. The Cleveland Browns, I believe, are named after their founder, Paul Brown, who was just a guy, so he'd probably get freaking stomped. And even looking back, like, even thinking of their mascot, well, their logo is a helmet. Their mascot is an elf named Brownie the Elf. Hold on. 1 second. Cleveland Browns. Okay, yeah, here. This is Brownie the Elf. This is their mascot. But also they got, like, this bulldog, which is, like, kind of a thing, which, again, not, you know, bulldogs very scary, not as scary as some of the other things in this list. So I think whichever one it is, whether it's the guy Paul Brown, whether it's Brownie the Elf, or whether it's bulldogs, I think comparatively they get freaking stomped. Elmer Fudd looking elf, I know. Look at him. Look at this little fella. I like him. But he's getting stomped. The Houston Texans, again, they're just kind of regular people. A much broader thing, though, than, like, factory workers of the Steelers and Packers. So, like, factory workers, it takes a lot of, you know, physical ability to do. Like, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to work in a factory, especially in the early 20th century when these teams were named. Texans is just wide, right? It's a wide. It could be anybody in Texas. It's a much wider, like, it's a much wider idea of people. It could be anybody. It could be some like Joe Schmo. It could be a strong guy. It could be a weak guy. You know. So I think that they go above Saints because Texans have a larger proclivity for violence than the Saints do, but they're probably below the more concrete idea of a factory worker of the Steelers and the Packers. It could be you. It could be me. It could even be Zentrea. I think she's from Texas. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, this is like judging by their logo and their name. This is obviously referring to Native Americans specifically. I don't know how to rank that. Like, Okay, so it's like, oh, this is not where it's going. Hold on. This is tricky because okay, this is referring of like chiefs of a Native American tribe. Again, very probably honorable, which the Pirates and the Vikings don't necessarily have. You know what? You know what? You know what? I think this is the best way to do it. I abstain. I don't want to rank the Chiefs. The Chiefs, I have no problem with their mascot. I think they're a lot more like respectful than a lot of other like Native American sports mascots out there. I don't have a problem with the Chiefs as a mascot, but I don't want to rank them. I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do it in a tasteful manner. I'm not smart enough for that. The Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, Saints would also abstain. Well, I'm not abstaining from the Saints, okay? The Dallas Cowboys, I mean, I guess they would have to go at least above the Broncos, right? Because, I mean, Cowboys are kind of what gets the Broncos bronkin', right? Probably higher than Ravens, but not as higher than like Falcons or Ospreys or Eagles. Around here. Actually, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Where should we put Cowboys in relation to all of this? The birds are so tricky because like one good shot and they're out. But if they gang up on you, they will pick you apart quite literally. Imagine a football game that ends when one team tames the other. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that thought. It makes me sad. I think that this is a good spot for the Cowboys, personally. The Los Angeles Chargers. I don't want to look up why they're called the Chargers. I mean, they're got lightning, electricity, so electric powers. Like they could be like horses. I believe one of their earlier mascots was like a horse, like charging, but their logo is like a lightning bolt. I do not believe they were named after like chargers of like electronics because the Chargers. I'm surprised, like with a name like that. I'm surprised to learn they're one of the older teams in the NFL. I think kind of mid. I don't know. I don't know where to put the Chargers because that's such a vague name. It could be anybody who charges, could be anything that charges. I don't think that there's any implication of like electric powers anywhere in their lore. I don't know. I think kind of mid. It's too vague to really put a like direct answer to it. All right, now this one is, I'm surprised. This one might be the weirdest one to rank. The New York Jets. Much like if the Giants were buildings, what are we? Okay, you know what? I think Jets would be at the top of kick-ass, right? Because, like, if we're going by 11 versus 11, just like on a real football game, can be the only ones to take down Giants? Yeah. I mean, the only thought that I had is like, oh, I mean, they're just jets. They need people to fly them. But, you know, let's just like how the Dolphins are somehow able to act along with everybody else. I think the Jets can at least fly. If anything, they have pilots or they can fly themselves, what have you. I think the Jets might be at the tippity top of the power rankings here. Like, they could take out Giants that can fly directly into them. Like, Jesus, yeah. The two New York teams absolutely killing it at the very tippity top. Wow. All right, Carolina Panthers. Again, Panthers, like an apex predator. I think they're a little bit smaller than Lions or Tigers. So maybe, no, actually, no. Below Bears. Great day for Starscream. Yeah. You know what? I would even put Panthers below Buccaneers. Because Panthers are a fair bit smaller. I feel like Bears, huge, terrifying. They can maul the shit out of you. Especially 11 of them. Panthers are a little bit less, they're a little bit smaller. They're a little bit less numerous, I think. I think that might just be because they're endangered. But, you know, I think they go below Pirates. I think Pirates can take out Panthers, but they can't take out Bears, Lions, or Tigers. The Titans. Are Titans at the top? Like, this is like one of the only football teams where pretty sure that we're just going straight mythology here. Titans are at the top. Yeah. Like, if we're thinking of like the Titans of like Mount Olympus, we're talking gods. We are talking the gods of this world. Like the Greek Titans. Yeah. I don't know what else it could be. I mean, those colors really give way to like Olympian type shit, right? I think the Titans are at the top. The Jets, oh man, that is, anybody who knows football, ain't it just like the Jets to be at the very top for like 1.7 seconds before being overtaken out of nowhere. There needs to be a higher tier than the rest? Okay, you're right. Literal gods. Titans. Wow, yeah. I kind of didn't think about that. Titans, absolutely. At the very tippity top. I don't think any, I mean, there's only two teams left, and I don't think either of them can beat gods. Because one of them is the Colts, which a colt is a young horse. It's not even fully grown. Should we? Okay, how much damage could like a teenage horse do? It's between pretty weak and gets freaking stomped. I think, okay, well, let's put the Cardinals below the Browns because, like, I feel like Cardinals are just so tiny and so, like, inconsequential. I really think that, like, a normal person could take out a Cardinal. Colts, I feel like, are going to be in pretty weak, maybe even below the Saints because they're just young horses, right? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? They're just horses. And then the Jaguars, again, with the other apex predators. I think that above the Pirate teams, below the Bears. All right. What do we think of this? What do we think of this random impromptu tier list we got going on? Literal gods, we got the Titans. In Kick-Ass, we have the Jets, the Giants, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Lions, the Bears, the Jaguars, the Buccaneers, the Raiders, and the Panthers. Pretty strong. We've got the Commanders, the Bills, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Seahawks, Falcons, Cowboys, Ravens, Broncos, Rams. Kind of mid, the Chargers and 49ers. Pretty weak. We got the Steelers, the Packers, the Texans, the Saints, and the Colts. Gets friggin' stomped. The Browns and the Cardinals. And I abstain for the Chiefs. I don't want to rank the Chiefs. Yeah, there. These are the official mascot power rankings. Yeah, there are a lot of birds in football. You're right. So many bird teams and cat teams. Because we got the fucking Panthers, the Jaguars, the Bengals, the Lions. And 2 horse teams? Or 3 if you count the Chargers, which they might. Can birds even kick? Some of them can, like an ostrich. Dude, where's the ostrich team? Where's the NFL ostriches? You know, there is another sport called Aussie rules football, which is a completely different sport from both football, like American football, and rugby. It's a completely different sport on its own called Aussie rules football. I wonder if there's an ostriches in Aussie rules football. That'd be cool. Okay, I'm gonna save this. All right, there we go. I do not want to create an account. All right, cool. Well, that was fun. Thank you for dealing with this random idea that I just got in my head. Now, I got to go pee, and then when I get back, we're going to play some Pokemon. I'm going to run some ads. If you hate ads and you hate capitalism, you should subscribe to twitch.tv/KirlyQ so you don't have to watch those dang old ads. And when I get back, we're going to get back to why I did this stream in the first place. See y'all in a minute, guys.